Boxingego here. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon on the top of your screen to get notified when the latest new content drops. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. If you want to become part of the notification gang, hit the bell icon. Shout out to the Super Chat channel donations, Venmo, and the Patreon family. As you guys know, we were working. Now, shout out to ringtv.com, link in the description. Top rank promoter Bob ARUM. He did an interview with Everlast podcast Talkbox, and there's a pinned article on ringtv.com. Again, the link is in the description. He had an interesting dialogue and a lot to say. He says that he flew Terence Crawford out, or Terence Crawford and him had lunch in Los Angeles to discuss Crawford's future. Obviously, Crawford mentioned I was at his last fight it was actually in Lincoln. He's from Omaha. They did like a lot of the fight week build-up stuff, media days in Omaha, but the actual fight was in Lincoln, Nebraska. That was my first time. I had been to Omaha a couple times for previous Crawford fights, but that was my first time going to Lincoln. It was real nice too. My hotel was real nice. And he basically had lunch with Crawford to discuss the future. What's next? Crawford looked sensational, became undisputed against the taller, rangy guy who was going to people's backyards and beating them, like Troy Yanofsky and Ricky Burns, and that's Julius Ndongo. Crawford made short work of him, stopping him to the body in the third round. You know what I mean? And a lot of people have him pound for pound #1 with Andre Ward announcing his retirement, right? So in this interview, Bob ARUM saying that he spoke with Crawford and he's saying that the future's bright. He says that Terence Crawford is a wonderful young man and a tremendous talent. And I think in the next 5 years or so, we're going to see the era of Terence Crawford, right? He also goes on to say what's probably next for him since he's moving up to welterweight, which is what you guys see in the title. And Bob ARUM says Terence Crawford will be the mandatory contender for the WBO champion, Jeff Horn. That's what me and Terence Crawford were discussing. His next fight will be in February or March, and it will be against Jeff Horn. Obviously, the only kicker to that is if Jeff Horn loses. I did an Ego rumor mill. He's fighting against a Gary Corcoran. It hasn't been officially finalized, but it looks like it's going down. The fighters have agreed. They're just finalizing paperwork and clearing out this venue, waiting for it to happen. So that's not really a fight I'm checking for at all. Jeff Horn versus Gary Corcoran. Coming off the Pacquiao win, you're a champion. And I just don't know enough about Gary Corcoran to have interest in that. And I cover boxing. But I like Bud Crawford versus Jeff Horn. That's a good fight because Crawford, he already proved he's the man at 140. Moving up 7 pounds, you don't know. You don't know how people respect your power differently. If they don't, maybe you have more power. Maybe you lose speed. Maybe you gain speed from not having so much weight to cut. You know what I mean? There's just a lot of variables. Maybe you can't take a punch. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? So I think that's a good first fight. Jeff Horn is rugged. I mean, I would favor Crawford based on technique. And I told you, it's going to take the right fighter for me to pick against Crawford. He just does a lot of things well and makes adjustments, ambidextrous, things like that. So I would favor Crawford in that fight. But, you know what I mean? It could be some good work because Jeff Horn showed he could take a punch. I mean, he looked like a dead man versus Pacquiao in round 9. And he somehow survived. Cuts, bruises, stitches, all of that. And at the end of the day, he weathered that storm to beat Pacquiao, albeit a little bit controversial, but he got the job done. Now, Crawford and Pacquiao fight 2 different ways. I think Crawford fights more methodical. He's more sensible. He knows what he's up against. Pacquiao was doing like rookie mistakes to me. For a guy with 60+ fights and a veteran like Pacquiao, he was walking himself to the ropes. That's not your comfort zone. You know what I'm saying? You're not Mayweather. You're not even a Canelo off of the ropes. So that's not where you should be. So he was letting Jeff Horn kind of bully him and get the best of him and almost fight like him, awkward and just come for, you know what I'm saying? Just jump in and like weird. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but I like Crawford versus Jeff Horn. So hopefully Horn gets past Gary Corcoran, which I believe he probably will. I mean, Corcoran's from the UK, from Britain. So, I mean, Jeff Horn has the advantages, confidence from the Pacquiao win. The fight's going to take place in Australia, in his backyard. And he's probably the stronger fighter, like in terms of power. So he should get past Gary Corcoran. So that gives us something to see. And I told you, man, the great thing about 2017 being such a phenomenal year for boxing is we were going to have some overlap and some spillover from all these great fights that, you know what I mean, the year's coming to a close. You can't possibly make every single match, so some of them are going to spill over and carry over to the next year, and it looks like that's what's happening, because I do think Crawford Horn is a big fight. I don't know where they would stage that, if Jeff Horn's coming to America like Eddie Murphy to have that fight, but I do like the fight. Now, I will touch on this. Some people are probably wondering, how can Crawford move up and be a #1 mandatory and get that type of coveted spot with the WBO, and he hasn't had a welterweight fight? Which is a fair question, because at first I was like, wait a minute. But I think this is just my speculation on the issue. What I think has happened, and I think it happens in other sanctioning bodies, is they look at your body of work, and if you've carried their belt in the lighter division, like the division just underneath you, then they take that into consideration. You know what I'm saying? And Crawford at 140 had the WBO belt. You know what I'm saying? So he was the WBO champion. So when he moved up, they may have given him that generous ranking because they know he's a quality fighter. They like how he represented the belt, etc. Right? Because Jamal Charlo with the WBC, he was the man at 154, or one of the top players. He had just knocked out his mandatory, Julius Ndongo, right? And he got a generous ranking within the WBC at 160, and he just fought in an eliminator versus Jorge Sebastian Highland. And I think it happened with Canelo too. Canelo was ranked very high when he moved up to 160, and he didn't even have any fights at 160. So that's just my speculation. I think that's how it works, is based on your body of work, especially if you've had their belt before, then you might get a generous ranking. Like, oh, okay. You know what I mean? And sometimes, like IBF at welterweight, they have the #1 and 2 spots just vacant. Like, there's nobody's name there, right? So it could have been a situation like that. Either way, I don't think many people are gonna complain. I mean, some people might get mad, like, oh, this doesn't make sense in politics, but I don't care none about that. I care more about seeing a good fight, and Crawford is clearly worthy of a high ranking, and I think he would do. I mean, if he had a couple tune-up fights or whatever, he would do fine at welterweight. You know what I'm saying? And he would move up the rankings that way. So I'm not really worried about it. I think really a lot of it is just a testament to the quality of fighter and him having the WBO at 140. That's just my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think. Crawford versus Horn, definitely a fight I would look forward to. Bob Arum said in this interview he doesn't know what's up with Pacquiao. He said Pacquiao's basically knee deep into politics, so nobody really knows what he's trying to do. So I don't know. In my opinion, what would be good is the Jeff Horn versus Crawford winner, and then the winner gets Pacquiao in November or whenever, in the fall. I think that would be dope, because I've been trying to see Pacquiao fight Crawford for some time, and if Jeff Horn beats Crawford, then wow, that's, I mean, a huge name on his resume. So let me know your thoughts. A lot of ways you can analyze this. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. Make sure you smash the like button as always. Hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxingego, the future of boxing.